What's up, legends? Welcome back to NCR. Long time no see. How have you been? I have been absolutely flat out. Work, life, just lots and lots of things going on this end that's kept me out of the shed. But it's time to finally get this 86 running again. So if you remember last time we chatted, we were looking at what oil we would put in the 86, and keen-eyed will see a box below me. So we've finally got some oil. We're going to chuck that in the car and then finally test this gearbox and clutch setup and make sure it actually works. You can see that the Sylvia has been chucked to the side again. For anyone interested in what's happening with that, jump on the Facebook. Lots of body kit testing and wheel testing, trying to work out how we get the right size rubber on the car, get the fitment sorted and get the body kit sorted so we can start on the body work. But you can jump on the Facebook if you're keen to know what's happening with that. For now, let's check out what is in this box for the 86 and get to work. And voila, here we have it. After much research and a lot of conversation on Facebook, and you can jump on there if you want to get involved, I have gone with the ULX 110 EP Plus gear lube in 80 weight 90 for this particular application, which is very similar to the Penrite that it had in it. Now, I got a lot of great feedback about this oil, particularly from people in the rally space and in motorsport applications. You know, there's a lovely blurb on the back which tells you all about the additives and, you know, the GL ratings and all those sorts of things. One thing you might not find in a lot of other products, check this out. Can you see that there? That's the mobile number for the manufacturer. And yes, I absolutely did call that number and have a chat with Pete. And thank you, Pete, for all of your information and your patience. The thing that attracted me to this was obviously great feedback from people who I trust, but specifically its ability to withstand high temperatures. So one of the things that was mentioned with these AZ6 gearboxes, particularly from the MX5 guys, is that they run hot. And that can be a big issue in terms of third and fourth. So, you know, we've had 2 fourth gear failures now. So if there's a temperature issue, maybe this will help. I had to put an oil in it anyway, so why not try something different? Of course, we are going to test it. So here is a sample I've already taken. And yeah, if you see for yourself, it looks a lot like ATF. This is a mineral-based oil. It's not fully synthetic. And apparently that's part of the reason why it lasts for such a long time and withstands such high temperatures. It doesn't smell like ATF, and it certainly doesn't smell like some of the nastier gear oils that you might be used to. And look, you know, nothing smells as bad as used diff oil anyway. So it was something like 20 or 25 degrees reduction in temperature, and I've certainly seen reports of lots of great feedback from people using this brand rather for engine oil and seeing reductions in engine oil temperatures during dyno sessions. So we're going to give this one a go. I've got a couple of bottles there, and I believe, let me fish around. Great, got some stickers as well. So we'll try and pop those on the car somewhere because you guys know I love a sticker. Now, because I'm such a nice guy, I've already taken the liberty of putting the oil in the car. So I've saved you the time lapse of all the pumping and all that sort of stuff. Don't forget, always crack your fuel plug before you take your drain plug out. So never forget that tip. And if you've got a pump bottle like mine, you can see me using that in other clips. Just go ahead and put your pump straight on top of the bottle rather than using the decanter. That's a tip for young players. So what I have not done yet is started the car and made sure that the new clutch setup actually works. So let's jump in the car now, start it up, make sure that the gearbox works because it hasn't been tested, make sure the clutch works, and then we'll go from there. Let's go. All right, it's the moment of truth. So I've got the car just high enough off the ground so that we can spin the wheels over. We're going to start it up and see if the thing goes into gear, and hopefully everything works nicely. Then we'll get it down off the hoist and we'll just do a little bit of clutch testing back and forth in the shed. Fingers crossed. So far so good, at least it went into gear. I'll get a little bit of speed into it. Now, these things never love being up on the hoist in terms of the ABS and the wheel speed sensors and all those sorts of things. So we'll just see how far we can go. So far so good. Seems okay. the infamous 3/4 shift. You can hear a little bit of a rumble back there, but again, hard when it's on the hoist. I feel like I can hear a squeak or a rattle or something. Alright, for safety's sake, I'm just going to pop it up on the hoist while it's still running, leave it in gear. I just want to have a look at the underside of the car and just make sure everything's alright. Let's have a look. Alright, so I'm not crazy. I can definitely hear something coming out of this wheel. I can't tell if it's the handbrake dragging or if it's a pad dragging. So I'm just going to jump in the car now, grab the handbrake, give the brake a little bit of a tap, and then we'll see if the noise goes away. 1 second. Okay, well, I've popped the wheel off and had a look, pulled the grommet out, had a look at the drum brake assembly as well, and it appears that the noise is coming from the caliper. These are WinMax W5 pads, heaps of meat left on those pads, which is great. The rotor looks fine. These are DBA, I think they're 4,000 or 5,000 series, can't remember. So everything looks okay. So I'm going to go and start the car now and see if the noise has gone away. I have given the rotor a bit of a clean and everything in the caliper, just a very quick once over and a wipe, nothing special. If the noise is still there, honestly, it's probably just because the pads are cold, or also, or alternative rather, because the pads are at a certain wear level, but they're miles off the wear indicator. So if that's the way it is, then that's the way it is. So we'll give it a test, see what it does, go from there, have a quick look under the car once it's running, and then we'll do some testing in the shed and make sure this gearbox actually works.
Alrighty, not sure if you can hear me, but she's up on the hoist, in second, 2,500 RPM, and honestly, everything looks pretty good. No weird noises. So I think we'll call that a success from underneath the car. Let me just pop out. Alright, bit crazy obviously with the car on the hoist and the noise, but I think we'll call it a success. And we'll get him down now and we'll do some testing on the ground and make sure the clutch actually works and that we can drive this thing. Let's go.
Righto, it is time for the moment of truth. I'm going to jump in the car, start it up, and just see if we can actually grab a gear and go forwards and backwards. I'm limited with how much space I've got to work with here in the shed, and given the rural nature of my property, I can't just get it out on the street and go and do some testing in Mexico. So I'm just going to drive it back and forth in the shed a few times, and fingers crossed everything just does what it should. There has been some talk about whether we pop it on a dyno to try and get the clutch bedded in, because that's another concern. We want to get the clutch bedded in before we go racing. I'll just have to see what the schedule looks like and all those other things. So for now, let's jump in and make sure this thing actually goes. Wish me luck. Alrighty, fingers crossed. Well, that's a good start. Yeah, a lot softer than the old clutch, that's for sure. Nice. Yeah, definitely feels a lot nicer than the old clutch setup, as you would expect from an extreme heavy duty organic. It's going to give another go. Nice. Well, as expected, heaps nicer to drive than the old solid center 5-puck job. Let me just turn him off. Lovely. All right, well, for now, I think we call that a success. You be quiet. Yeah, we'll call that a success, and the gearbox job is complete. Clutch swap is done. I can certainly feel a little bit of difference in the clutch take-up point and the just inertia of that light and flywheel, so that's certainly something different for me. And I got my work boots on at the moment, so hopefully when I'm in my race boots, it will be a bit nicer. What's next? Well, the first round of the Sprint Series is not until, what are we in now? We're in mid-Feb. Oh, happy Valentine's Day, everybody, by the way, for yesterday. So we're mid-Feb. And I think the first round of the sprints is not until somewhere in April, so we've got plenty of time. There is a potential of trying to hit up some of the local club days just to make sure that everything's working properly, and really maybe just to get some cheap lap time and get that clutch bedded in if we can't get the thing on a dyno. There was some discussion around whether we change that rear sway bar. I still wanted to experiment with a softer rear sway bar setup and see if that just gives me a little bit more stability that I'm after. But otherwise, I think we're good unless we want to bite the bullet now and get some fresh tyres. So a few things to look at, plenty of time to work out what we're doing. And in the meantime, I need to get back to the Sylvia and make some calls about what we do with suspension and lower control arms and all that sort of stuff. So if you've got any questions about the ULX 110, drop me in the comments. If you've got any questions about the box swap or the clutch setup, I will pop a link in the description to the work that was done in that space, but go ahead and ask me in this one if you want. But otherwise, I think we'll call that done for now. So thank you for watching. I'm going to head up to the house and watch the Bathurst 12 hour, and I will catch you in the next one. See you later, guys.